Well, hello, 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 hello. Happy Monday and welcome to Phebs Place. Yes, I'm gonna have to get some audience participation in the background. But yes, welcome to Phebs Place. Listen, tonight and this entire month is gonna be so powerful and it's gonna be a blessing. We're gonna deal with grief. So the month of March, we're dealing with grief. And I have my first guest, Miss Juanita Culver. We have been friends for over 30 years. Um, she's going to talk about her story on what happened to her. I'm going to let her tell it, but let me tell you something. Brace yourself because she's a strong, strong woman. She is candid. She's going to be very honest about what she's sharing and what she's dealing with. Most people try to hide a lot of things, but my girl, she's gonna let us have it, both unmarried and married. She's gonna give us something to think about. So let's welcome Juanita Culver.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you, Phoebe, for that introduction. That was beautiful. Thank you.
you are welcome. Listen, I don't know how you're gonna start, where you're gonna start, but I will say that for everyone that don't know, she was married. And as you see, she's beautiful and she's still young. Listen,
Oh,
she was married, and me and my husband went to the wedding. We became friends, and came to a point where we would come out and we would double date, go over there, and she's going to take it from there on what took place um, from what was it, 2006,
from
but
2016.
16. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's
So
okay.
just give us a little short synopsis on how you and Dwight met.
Oh, okay. It's funny how you meet someone and it doesn't work out the first time that you meet. Um,
Mm.
the first time I met him, I was 27 years old, and we talked for a while, and I didn't like him, and he didn't like me. So we stopped talking, and I didn't see him for like 3 years. And when I
Right.
met him the first time, I met him with my god sister and her two kids, and I had my daughter at the time, and my daughter was 2 years old at the time. And we met again 3 years later, and in those 3 years, that one conversation we had, it changed everything.
Mm.
Phoebe, I hear something in the background, like sound like water or something. Sounds.
So
Can you
hold
hear
on.
that? Can you hear it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Does
Uh,
anyone hear it out there? Do you hear it, Juanita?
I hear it. It's kind of loud. It sounds loud.
Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know. Does anyone hear it out there?
Okay. It sounds like you turned it down. Now I don't hear it
You
as
don't hear
much.
it?
It's not as loud as it was before. You could turn it down even more if
Okay, so let me know if you still hear it.
I hear it. It's just not as loud as it was before.
I don't know
Okay.
what this.
Now I don't.
If anyone
Okay.
in the audience hear it, let me know.
Okay. Okay, I don't hear it anymore. But
Okay.
okay, I'll just go on. And
Yeah.
so I met him 3 years later, and I don't know what God did, but he grew in those 3 years, and we met Labor Day weekend, and we just became inseparable after that.
Mm.
And we got married in December 4th of 1999, and we were together. He was my best friend. We became best friends really before we actually got married. And in the time of our marriage, we had gone through more things than some people don't even go through in a lifetime of marriage. We went through, his mom died 11 days after we were married. We went to the funeral, we came back, he got laid off from his job, go back to work. We get in a near fatal car accident. His car is totaled out. Then he lost his job, and Then he went to school. His BA took all of his. We just went through a lot. It was just, but we never ever disconnected, and we never were apart. We never walked away from each other. We always held on to each other, regardless to what we were going through. And he would always say to me, Pookie, that was a nickname that he used that I hated, but it was started off as a joke and it just kind of stuck. And he would always say, Pookie, it's me and you against the world. And to have that type of friendship and that type of love from somebody, to let alone that be your friend, but your husband. And we did everything together. I mean, just if you saw one, you saw the other, even if it was just to go pump gas. We just did things
Wow.
together, and we could be in the house, no TV, no radio, nothing. Just he's on one couch, I'm on the other one, and we'll just talk about life and what our goals and our plans was and how we wanted to move together doing things. And we just came through so many things, but this particular thing, I didn't see it coming. We've had surgeries, like I said, car accidents, but just never saw this coming. But Labor Day weekend of 2016, he had a heart attack.
Wow.
And needless to say, God brings things full circle because he died in the month of September. He was had his heart attack September the 1st. By September the 19th, he was gone. And he basically died in the car with me on the way to his follow-up appointment from his triple bypass surgery. And it started off as a heart attack, and we found out that he had 3 clogged main arteries, and he had
Jesus.
that heart attack 2 days before he had a complete physical, and they deemed him as being healthy. His blood pressure was like an athlete's. Nobody expected that, especially not me. I did not see that coming. I really, to be honest with you, I thought that he would have outlived me. I never in my lifetime, nobody could tell me that I was going to lose my husband at 49 years old. You just don't think about that. And from that day on, September 19th, up until this day, my life has completely changed. And let me tell you, grief, it's no joke, and it's real, and you go through so many emotions. I was angry, I was sad, I was in a fog, I couldn't think straight because everything we did together. So it's like, okay, now I'm doing all this stuff by myself, and that I was not ready for. It was like a whole new world for me. Life, the way I knew it, was stripped from me. And I was angry. I was so angry with God. I did not want nobody to talk to me about church. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to go. My attitude was, because I'm an only child, is, why are you doing this to me? What did I do to deserve this? Even though I know we didn't come here to stay forever, but it was like, God, there are so many people on this planet that are jerks. People, they cheat on their spouses, they don't like their spouses, they don't stick things out with their spouses, they disrespect them when they talking to them. I didn't have any of that. I can honestly say I had a really good God. And for him to be gone, I was like, why would you take him? Why wouldn't you take the people that are doing things that are, I just, nothing that anybody could say could get to me to make me think otherwise, to see a brighter day. And to be a person to where you can sleep at night. I used to, when my head hit the pillow, I was out. I hadn't have a care in the world. I cannot tell you how many times I have went to sleep and slept 8 straight hours. It just has not happened. I
Wow.
wait, I sleep and I feel like I've slept like 4 5 hours, and I wake up and I've been asleep for an hour. And that goes on a lot. And
Let me
just
ask you a question if I can
uh-huh.
interject. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Because when you, Juanita, you were in a place.
Mm-hmm.
I when I came out there, even after he passed away, you were in a place. And for us that don't understand and don't know, because I just let you really just express and talk because you really, really didn't understand. So when, because we talked last night, and it's you still in that moment of I really don't kind of understand why did I
Mm-hmm.
have this? I had a quick marriage. Everything happened at the same time. Um, why did you remove the person, the love of my life? Because everybody do not experience that in marriage. The ultimate love of their life. Kind of expound upon that. How did you process that?
It took a while. It really took a while. It's a process. Grief is a process because you go one day you can be, I got this, I'm okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then anything can hit. I mean, you can hear a song and it'll set you back. For me, um, I could not handle being around couples. I still struggle with that, being around couples,
Mm-hmm.
because I was so used to us doing things as a couple. But I kept putting in my mind, I would say, I can't give up. I'm too young to give up on life. That's my
Mm-hmm.
motto. Is I'm
Okay.
too young to give up on life, and I'm too young to give up on love. And that's one of the things that keeps me going. And I went to grief counseling. I did it 3 times.
Wow.
And and each time was different. It was like at different stages, because sometimes I would be in a good place where, okay, I can get through the day. I'm okay. But the for I don't know about those of you that have lost a spouse, but the hard part is at night, when it's just you and those four walls and there's nobody else. That was my struggle, because it was like, okay, God, what do I do? I
Mm-hmm.
can't sleep. I can't think. What why am I in this? How do I get out of this? And I even asked God, can you send me somebody just to talk to? Because
Mm-hmm.
I was so used to a routine. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard when you um this is somebody that I went to sleep with. This is somebody that I woke up to. This is
Wow.
somebody that I carpool with. This is somebody, when something's going on throughout the day, that I could call and I can talk to. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard for me to not have that. I mean, I had my girlfriends, but I
Mm-hmm.
have my best friend.
Yes.
And it's a process. It's different. And people can say things that the they rally with you when
Mm-hmm.
you're going through the process of getting ready for the funeral, and that type of thing. I had all that support, but really, to be honest with you, the support is not so much needed then as much as it is when it's over, because when it's over, people
Mm.
go on with their lives and you're still left in pain.
Wow.
And that's when my struggle really truly came, and I had to really fight and push through it. And I've been pushing. I've grown a lot. And I was like, God, would you, if you just send me somebody. And sometimes I would feel like, God, do you even like me?
Wow.
But he was letting me know all along, he was putting people in my life, but I couldn't see it at the time. But now I see it. I see where he prepared me for a lot of things, but I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't looking for it, because
Mm.
he's had me all this time. I
Yeah.
have not lacked in anything since he's been gone, except for my husband. And that's somebody that, you know um I have learned to accept that he is no longer here. But I
Wow.
always I in this journey that I've been in, because it is an extremely lonely journey. It's a lonely journey, and it's not for the weak and the weary. It
Mm.
really is not. And those of you that are widows and widowers, my hat goes off to you if you make it through the day without crying when it happens. And I've cried enough. I don't even think California should be in a drought as much as
Right.
I cried for these last few years. I have
Uh,
cried. But I had a guy friend who told me, he said, you might not never get over it, but you
mhm.
will get through it. And as he said, I did get through it. But
Yes.
it's nothing but God's grace and mercy that has gotten me this far. But I was angry with him, and God was like, stand in line. You won't be the first and you won't be the last, but you're gonna
Say
go through this. And that's what I've had to do.
and you know
And
what? And I know you touched on it, how cruel people are and the different because I remember you telling me this last night, how people what they ask you in the midst of your sorrow and what you're dealing with, things that
oh,
you say.
hmm oh yes, and people they say that, and I don't think people mean it, because a lot of times people say things to you and they don't even know what to say to you, but they'll say
Mm,
things that are hurtful, and they don't think anything of it. Um, I had I had somebody to ask me, so did you kill your husband? What? Why
mm,
would you say something like that to somebody? And he was jokingly saying that these are idiots that I've met along the way, out of the blue, minding my own business, but trying to make conversation, or you trying to make light of you. You can't make light of death.
right.
When someone has lost someone so close to them, there's nothing funny about it at all.
No, it's not.
And that was something that stuck with me, that really, really, really hurt me. And I was like, God, you took my husband for me to put up with something like this. Why? What is the reasoning behind all of what you're doing, what you have me doing? And I'm still maneuvering through life, trying to figure
Hmm.
it out.
Hmm.
Every day is a new day to start anew and to see what God has for me. But
Amazing. Let me tell you, you are doing awesome. And you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, going through your own process, not allowing people to force you to get over it, not allowing people to push you. Oh, well, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it. But a lot of times
mhm,
people say certain things and putting them through that, yeah, they wouldn't. They'd be still
just
there, they over on the couch. But I applaud
mhm,
you because you did the work and you're still doing the work. And I
mhm,
want to say this that this is why I love your honesty. Um, because you told me even last night, and I didn't realize that until you actually told me. You said, Phoebe, I don't even think I can handle being with you in person because of the couple, of you being a couple. I
mhm.
understood it. I didn't take it offensively. I totally understood it. Listen, you know what I'm saying? Because we haven't seen each other since maybe one time.
Time, yeah,
Um,
just
the
once.
time before that, it was
Mhm,
all four of us together.
mhm,
That was before he died because we were getting ready to come out there when he did pass away. So we saw each other one time after that, and you were candid and told me, "Yeah, I don't think I can. I don't think I can deal with that." Everybody is not like that. People will still be in the company of other people and still be unhappy and hurt.
mhm.
What can you say to them to be okay being honest?
You really truly, to be honest, you have to push through it. And I'm sharing this. People that know me, they know I'm an only child, but my parents have been married for 56 years.
Wow.
I struggle being at in their presence, but when I'm around them, because it's like, okay, they have each other and I'm
Mm,
by myself. So what I used to do, I'm just getting to the point now where I can handle it. I stay a little longer than I used to, but I would just make up something just to go home. Like my cousins, they would come with their husbands and aunts and uncles, that are married, and these couples, and then there's me. And I
Mm,
was like, I would make up anything. I forgot to turn the lights off on at my house. I got to go turn the lights on because I'm there by myself. Just anything, just to get out of their presence. And there would be times where I would leave and I would just be crying my eyes out
wow.
because it was like it just wasn't fair to me. I could be in a store and I'm grocery shopping,
Mm,
and I look over and there's a couple. They're like trying to decide, should we get this? Just talking, and they're minding their own business, and tears would just start falling down my face because it was like we were them. And
mm,
then now it's me by myself trying to do this. And Lord forbid when something goes wrong, when something has to be fixed. And I didn't realize how much my husband did for me or did for our household until
mm,
he passed, when things just started falling apart and I had to find somebody to fix them. And your trust, you feel like you can't trust anybody. I
mm,
just felt like, to be honest, it was like my world was stripped from me. It was
wow.
like the rug was pulled right out from under me, and I just did not know how to handle it at first. But I just took one thing at a time because I was all over the place, and then trying to be at work and trying and oh my goodness, being at work and then people coming up to you, are you okay? And the tears would just start falling,
Wow.
and I'd have to get up and just go walking. So I learned to just I just incorporated exercising and started walking to get things off my mind. But it you have to I learned from these two books that my supervisor had given me, but unfortunately I did not write the names. I was telling Phoebe about it, but there
Mm-hmm.
were these two books. I had a supervisor that had lost her husband 5 years before I
Mm,
started working under her. And so she bought me these books. In one of those books, it said, whatever you were doing that made you happy, continue to do that.
okay.
Well, I like makeup. I like lipstick. I like to look pretty. So I continue to do that, to do that, to make myself feel better. And
Okay.
I even had somebody say, "Well, you know what? You don't look like you lost your husband. You don't Well, how
Wow.
am I supposed to look? You don't have to look like your circumstances. Just because I
Mm,
can fix the outside does not mean that my heart is not hurting."
talk about it. Mm,
So I dealt with that, and when you have that covenant of marriage, for me, because I had a good marriage. That covenant, when it's gone, and you have guys coming at you, talking to you and saying things. Before I could say, you know what, I'm married, I'm happily married, and then that would be the end of it. And then
mm-hmm.
now, people ask you, well, are you married? No. Have you ever been married before? Yes. um well, I don't understand, you divorced? No. um well, you said you were married. Yeah, I was married. I said, God chose that this life for me. And
Mm,
then it's like, oh, well, then when it goes from that, it goes to, oh, she's a widow. Then people start calculating. You have to
wow.
be careful of that too, because people assume things. They, assume things that you have, and then they start looking at your lifestyle, and that's not fair. And I was like, God, this is just not fair. It's like,
Mm,
you want to be genuine and I was trying to move on, because I'm like, I love being married because I had a good marriage.
okay.
And I'm one thing, if I wasn't anything else, I was a very good wife.
Yes, you will.
And I
Yes, you will.
just feel like I have a lot of love left to give. And I know he would not want me to be here by myself.
Yeah.
But I guess God says, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
It's not time.
Right.
And he was so right, because if he had to put the person that I'm supposed to be with in my life at
Mm-hmm.
that time, it wouldn't have worked.
No.
because I wasn't ready,
Mm-mm.
because that I was still grieving, and
Yeah.
I was still going from happy to sad to mad. I was going back and forth with it, back and forth. And I don't know those of you that are widows or widowers, but sometimes it can even cause friction in your family,
Mm.
you know.
Talk about that.
And like with me and my daughter, I have one daughter, and she was grieving. I couldn't help her because I couldn't help myself. I was trying to maneuver through this myself, trying to get through it, and I didn't. I It was hard because I was so used to having him to talk to or navigate, and somebody to give you a second input on something. You may see something one way, but then if your spouse, you talk to him, and then he would always have a different perspective, and it would always make sense when he was saying stuff. And then I didn't have that anymore. So it's like, okay, what do I do?
Mm.
I was always calling on God, but I didn't think he heard me. But he did. But he did. But he
And why
did.
did because I know and touch on this too because a lot of spouses, I'm not gonna it's not just women, it's
Mhm.
men too, where we don't appreciate one another.
Oh,
Take
yes,
that
without a
time to
doubt.
appreciate who they are, what they do to us, because when that's gone,
Yeah, when it's over, it's over. And that's why I always share with couples, with people, love each other while you're here. Because I'm gonna tell you something. You ask a widow or a widower, when they close that casket, it's
mm,
over. It's a wrap. You can't go back and dig up and call and reach out. You
yeah.
don't get to do that. It's over. You will never see their face again. I'm just lucky that I have a recording with his voice. And sometimes I used to, I've grown past it, but I used to go and I would listen to it just so I could remember what he sound like, you
Mm,
know? And I always say, if the good outweighs the bad,
mm-hmm.
and you love each other, you love people while they're here. Like people say, give your flowers while you here. You love while they're here, because when they're gone, it's over. And I have a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine. Her sister, she's like a little sister to me as well. She's a widow as well, and she lost her husband 3 years before I lost mine. So she and I, we kind of talk. God placed her in my life, and she has been a blessing because we talk to each other about different things, because she struggles too.
Mm,
And what really hurts is when somebody will call you, "Oh, you single?" No, I'm a widow. But you're still single? No, I am a widow. I was
mm-hmm.
married. I didn't choose to be divorced. I didn't choose to walk out and leave. I I had death certificates to sign because I had to, not divorce papers because I chose to.
Okay, so that's
And
like a sign of respect to the
right, respect that person when they are a widow. That's what they are, a
okay.
widow or a widower. They're not just single, because it makes it sound like nobody wanted you. You weren't a part of someone's life. You weren't part of a covenant, and you were, and you should be given that respect, and
That's very lovely.
respect your loved one in that way, you
Mm,
know. And
that's good.
there's some people, they don't get it,
Yeah.
because your life is so different
Mm,
when you lose somebody. It's you I My lenses of life is completely different from someone who hasn't lost anybody. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that for just widows and widowers. It can be for anybody. But the hard part for me in losing somebody was, that was the first time I lost somebody that was that close to me, that I saw every day and I
got
was with every day. I've
yes.
lost several family members, but not somebody in that capacity where I saw them all the time. So
Yeah.
that's where it's different to me. And I've
Yeah.
also had I've had a discussion. It was a debate, and I'm one of those people that I don't tell me that a divorce is like death. No, it's not.
Mm.
That you cannot equate the two to me in my book.
Okay.
You can people can say it, but don't say that to me because that conversation is not going to go well. Because when someone gets a divorce, whether you like that person or not, that person is still walking this earth,
Okay.
and you still have the choice if you want to get back with that person. If you guys decide you want to reconcile, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't reconcile with a corpse. I
Right.
can't go to the gravesite and dig him up and bring him back. He's not coming back. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't take kindly when people say things like that. And that was something that was said to me before. Like I said, that was a debate, and I didn't care for that too much.
Well, that's
You
very
know.
enlightening because thank you for saying it because I do hear it a lot too from
Mhm,
people that are divorces like death. But
mhm,
I get what you're saying for you actually going through that.
mhm.
So where you are, we're going to, unfortunately, we got to wrap this up. But
Yeah.
where are you now in your life?
Right now, I'm in a good place right now. I'm a lot better than what I was. I'm open. I'm
Mm.
open to dating. I'm open.
Ah,
Yeah, that I'm open to it, and I still work. I do things. I go out with my friends. I do things, whereas to before it was hard. Like I told you, it was hard for me to do things with couples and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I still every now and then it might hit, like with you and Percy, because we go so far back. If I saw you guys
yes,
together, that would probably be a trigger
trigger.
for me. But
Yes,
I can't give up on life, so I
yeah.
have to keep pressing forward. But I'm open to what God has for me now, as to where before I was angry. I don't have that
Mhm.
anger anymore,
Wow.
you know. And it took time.
Mm,
Like I
mm,
said,
mm.
grieving. And one of my coworkers, I will end here. One of my coworkers gave me something about 4 years ago, and it said, there's no time frame on grieving.
Woo.
If someone puts a time stamp on grieving, they've never lost anybody that they love.
Mm,
And that's so
mm.
true.
Say that again. Say that again.
Grieving, let me get it right now. It said, God, I can't even think, Phoebe, right now. It just went out just that quick. I can see it, but I can't even say it
No, but it's
anymore. I'm sorry.
in other words, what you're basically saying is we don't put a time limit on grief.
No, mm-mm. There's no
You
date
grieve,
stamp.
yes,
No,
yes,
it's all about time. It's all about
yes.
timing. And every person is different. Everybody's process is different because
Mm,
everybody's situation is different. So,
yes.
like with me, I didn't see death coming. There's some people, it was progressive. They've seen their loved ones on their deathbeds and seen it
Hmm.
coming. For me, we've come through everything. So I figured this was a walk in the park. We're going to go, and we coming back home. Little did I
Right.
know that 5 minutes away from my house, I had to leave him. And I never got to hear his voice again.
And
So
you drove him to the hospital, am I correct?
I did. He basically transcended in the car with me. And they
Wow.
pronounced him dead at Kaiser by my house. And I have to drive by there every time I get on the 60 freeway. I have to
Wow.
drive by that hospital. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's where I had to leave him. And we were on our way to his follow-up appointment from his triple bypass surgery. And we had to detour and go there. But
Mm.
he transcended basically in the car, and they tried to work on him, but they didn't have anything to work with because he had a titanium plate in his chest. So they couldn't really even do compressions. So
Wow.
yeah, that's what happened.
Juanita, thank you for being an amazing wife to him. While his time here, his latter part here, you took care of Dwight. Dwight was happy, and you were an amazing wife to him. So he got to experience another level of love. So thank you for being that to him. Thank you for being my guest. I knew that God ordained you to come, and I only pray that God will give you double for your trouble. And I pray that the next one that comes your way will love. May not can love like the white,
Hmm.
but he'll love you how God have him to love you. Thank you so much. Sophia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
oh, you are so welcome, sweetie. You don't go nowhere, but we got to go off the scene. But y'all join next week. We're going to be talking more. We're going to have a different guest. We love you. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.